Fiercely loyal, anyone who dared to oppose Ren would instantly become her enemy. From the moment she appeared, Rosalind immediately commanded all the Knights of Ilaters. Like a goddess of war, Rosalind hurled herself into the Alvis Empire's army, swiftly cutting down every foe who stood in her path. With each strike, enemy weapons shattered, and the next instant, their bodies were pierced by her icy spear. The battle was a bloody massacre. Rosalind was like a wolf tearing apart a flock of helpless sheep. The soldiers of the Empire were utterly overwhelmed. The soldiers of the Alvis Empire at the rear trembled as they watched, wondering in terror how this girl could be so strong. Was she even human at all? Seeing his men fall far too quickly, the assassin barked out orders for the rest to calm down and not lose heart. No matter how strong she is, she's still only one person. But those very words caught Rosalind's attention. Gripping her spear tightly, she charged straight at him. Go to hell, Rosalind roared as she swung her weapon down at the assassin. The assassin was indeed formidable. He hastily raised his sword to block the strike. The impact sent a terrifying force through his body, cracking the ground beneath his feet. At that moment, another knight seized the chance to rush at Rosalind from behind, but she instantly sensed the ambush. Without hesitation, Rosalind swept her spear to the right. The razor-sharp blade, carrying overwhelming force, sliced the knight clean in half in a single motion. After dispatching the attacker, Rosalind followed up with a powerful kick straight at the assassin. Sensing the strike, he threw both arms forward to brace himself. The tremendous impact sent him skidding backward a considerable distance. Stopping in his tracks, the assassin now fully recognized Rosalind's terrifying strength. He narrowed his eyes cautiously at her, while she coldly locked her gaze on him and spoke with an icy tone. You have only two choices. Surrender or die. A flicker of unease crossed the assassin's eyes. He still forced himself to sound defiant, his voice laced with challenge. You think I'm afraid of you? Yet, before he could even finish his words, Rosalind had already lunged forward like lightning. Her spearhead aimed straight at him with blinding speed. The sudden strike made his eyes waver with fear. He couldn't dodge completely. He only managed to twist his body, allowing the spear to drive through his shoulder. The wound was severe, though not fatal. It robbed him of much of his fighting strength. This scene made the knights of the Alvis Empire even more terrified. They were convinced that with such terrifying strength, they would never be able to defeat a monster like Rosalind. Severely wounded, the assassin quickly retreated to maintain a safe distance. He truly hadn't expected Rosalind's power to far exceed anything his imagination could conceive. Witnessing this, Ren let out a satisfied smile. With Rosalind's current combat ability, if he were to later equip her with a submachine gun and a bulletproof vest, then surely she alone could take on an entire army. Good annihilate an entire army. At this moment, Rosalind's gaze swept across the entire battlefield. She shouted loudly, soldiers of the Alvis Empire, you have only two choices. Surrender or die. Unsurprisingly, after witnessing Rosalind's overwhelming strength, all of the knights of the Alvis Empire fell to their knees at once, declaring their surrender. They did not want to die, and they kept begging Rosalind to spare their lives. Their actions drove the assassin into a fury. He cursed relentlessly, calling the soldiers nothing but cowards, worthless trash. Yet his words no longer had any effect. The knights had completely lost their will to fight, laying down their weapons, and allowing themselves to be captured by Rosalind. A short while later, the situation stabilized. Rosalind walked up to Ren, happily reporting that all enemies had been subdued. Ren smiled and praised her for doing an excellent job. Not long after, the assassin was brought before. At Ren's command, the soldiers released the assassin. He had no desire for the man's death before a proper interrogation could take place. The assassin, with a cold and defiant gaze, looked at Ren and said, you may kill me if you wish, but don't expect to get any information out of me. I will never beg for your mercy. A faint smile played on Ren's lips. You think I will kill you? He mused. No, they will not kill you today. Instead, I want you to help me deliver a message. Hearing this, the assassin was momentarily taken aback, his mind racing to comprehend Ren's true intentions. You want me to be your messenger? He asked, a hint of disbelief in his voice. Then who do you intend for me to send word to? Ren smirked, a mocking glint in his eyes as he revealed his target, the Emperor of the Alvis Empire. The assassin grew even more bewildered, silently questioning the nobleman's motives. Just what is this nobleman planning? He wondered. Not leaving him in suspense for long, Ren quickly explained his scheme. Isn't your emperor just looking for an excuse to attack me? Then I shall give him exactly what he wants. Tell him this, Renegar, Lord of Izen Seti, betrayed the alliance between our two empires. I have surrounded and slain Lady Wilvina, ambassador of the Aldous Empire. Here, Ren paused, his eyes glinting with a hidden meaning as he stared directly at the assassin before him. The rest of the story, I will not write for you, he continued. But you must remember to fill in the details yourself. And don't forget, for every crime the Empire commits, Ren Edgar will take it all back with interest. At that moment, Ren's eyes blazed with a fierce, unrestrained fury. The sheer intensity of his gaze sent a chill down the assassin's spine. Fear began to rise in his heart, and he could only remain silent, completely unnerved by his opponent's demeanor. After finishing his conversation with the assassin, Ren turned his attention to Wilvina. From now on, return to the city of Izil, he instructed her. After all, you have already died here. From this day forward, you will officially become a citizen of Izil. Just then, the assassin used magic and slowly faded into nothingness. Before disappearing, he declared that Ren would regret everything he had done today. Ren didn't care in the slightest about those words. He replied coldly, "Get out of my sight, and don't you dare die on your way back to the Empire, otherwise, I will be very disappointed." Just then, Wilvina asked anxiously, "Are you truly not afraid that the Aldous Empire will use all of its might to attack Iceland?" Ren gave a confident smile. "What I fear is not that Aldous will attack, but that they won't, because the things I need can only be provided by the Aldous Empire." What did you just say?" Wilvina nearly shouted, her eyes widening in shock as she stared at Ren. Ren only smiled, his posture brimming with confidence. "What I need now is the territory of the Aldous Empire." Yet, Ren did not explain his true intentions to Wilvina. After all, at this point, she was still not someone he could place his complete trust in. After that, Ren turned to Rosalind and ordered, "Bring all the prisoners back for labor reform. These people will help solve our manpower shortage in the upcoming projects." Not long after, Wilvina was escorted back to the manor by Ren. Following behind him, she couldn't shake the feeling of unease. In her heart, she wondered what her future would become. Would she be thrown into a dungeon, reduced to nothing more than a bargaining chip on the negotiating table? After walking through a long corridor, the two stopped before a large door. Looking at the door, Wilvina spoke bitterly, "Just as I thought. In the end, you're locking me up in the dungeon, aren't you?" Ren turned to look at her, his gaze filled with puzzlement, and softly said, "Who told you I was going to lock you in a dungeon?" With that, he calmly pushed the door open and pulled Wilvina inside. It wasn't a dungeon at all, but an office. Inside, a girl lay slumped over the desk from sheer exhaustion. It was Selena. Seeing Ren enter, Selena trembled and pleaded, "Lord Ren, please forgive me. I truly can't make sense of all this." Ren simply smiled reassuringly. "Don't worry, our savior has arrived." He then turned to Wilvina, his voice cheerful. "Thank you, Wilvina, for your hard work." Wilvina froze, suddenly realizing what was going on with the mountains of paperwork piled so ridiculously high. Just who exactly was Ren planning to deceive? As if he had read her thoughts, Ren continued, "The Elf Queen will be coming here to review the financial reports in 3 days. Please help us cover all of this up." Wilvina's face flushed red with anger, and she loudly shouted Ren's name.